this is all political, and we're going to roast Glenn Beck.
Okay, so the Democratic legislators are now proposing major policy changes in Virginia. And if you thought that Virginia or any of the Democrats are moderate, they are only getting worse. And this should be remembered when it comes to the midterms.
Hold on. I had to take my glasses off because I looked like a younger version of this fucking guy. I don't want to look like that. No, thank you. No, I don't want to look like a young version of Glenn Beck. Fuck that. No.
Let me just give you a few things that they are proposing. Taxes and economic policy is becoming full-fledged Marxism.
Oh, shit. Hold on. I have to put my glasses back on. Okay. We can continue.
They are proposing new and expanded taxes. What a surprise.
Oh, no.
They have introduced bills now that will expand the sales tax base to include services like landscaping, gym memberships, vehicle repairs, food delivery, home repairs, raising the revenue beyond the traditional goods. The progressive income tax brackets, they are now proposing creating new tax brackets, higher tax brackets, meaning with people with taxable income over a certain threshold, they're saying 600,000.
Oh wait, but that's only one. That's only one of the tax brackets. The actual no shit like tax bracket that they're talking about, like the maximum like 10% that they're talking about is for people that earn over $1 million a year. Over $1 million a year. And the $600,000 tax bracket is only proposed to be about 7.2%. But still, and then there's a whole separate one where it's like a NITT, like tax for like net investment income shit. And that's only $500,000 a year. But I'm going to be real, if you're earning over $500,000 a year from investment income, let's just do a whole big old fucking thing called calculating. So if we do the 4% rule, what is that, like 10 million? Yeah, let's do times 0.04. You could, so if you're pulling from a standard 4% rule, and you have over like $10 million in net investments, and you're retiring, you're just fucking living off of that shit. You wouldn't even be affected by this fucking net investment tax shit that the state of Virginia is proposing. You could be worth $10 million, pulling over $400,000 fucking year, and you wouldn't be affected by this fucking tax. Shut the fuck up.
Will pay higher rates than those with lower incomes. This one I really love.
I mean, yeah, no shit. Holy fuck.
Federal employee tax. The federal employee will get a tax break versus everybody else.
Hold on. But you fucks would be totally on board with giving fucking federal income tax breaks to military members. You know how I know that? Because I'm in the fucking military and you guys fucking tell me all the goddamn time. Every time I'd ask it, like, hey, do you think we should get fucking basically taxed on income that is from federal tax revenue? They're like, no, that's a double tax. I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. So that people in the military or in positions in the government that are federal in that way shouldn't be taxed federal income tax, right? And they're like, yeah, that makes total sense. So they're totally on board with the like military members, but if you put it in the context of like federal workers, no, it's bad. It's bad. And the thing is that we're not even talking about federal taxes at this point. We're talking about state level taxes. And here's the wonderful fucking thing. The state has the ability and is allowed to tax and give deductions however they fucking please for the most part. Like that's states' rights. That's state level power. Like, so like this guy's going to go on about some shit.
There are proposals now that will give special tax subtractions for retired federal employees and incentives for federal retirees, while you, who didn't ever work for the government, you'll see a broader tax increase. What?
Well, you put it in that retrospect. Sure, everybody's going to be affected in some way, shape, or form from these taxes. But the way he's framing it is bad faith in general. Shut the fuck up, bro.
What is the purpose of that tax? Remember, you cut taxes on.
We have a lot of federal retired fucking workers in the state. That's the reason why. We don't need to tax the shit out of them when they're already being burdened by the federal government with federal income taxes that they refuse to fucking fix for the double taxation shit. So the state of Virginia is finally recognizing that, like, hey, that's kind of bullshit. Let's fix that. The only thing that I have a fucking problem with is that they don't give exemptions to military members in the same way. If they're going to do it for federal workers, they should do it for military members, and they're not doing it for military members. So that's where I have a fucking problem with this. But whatever.
On things you're trying to encourage. What are they trying to encourage? More people working for the federal government.
No. No, that's not what that is. No, wrong conclusion to make. Shut up, bro.
They're also trying to have a mandatory waiting period on gun purchases.
Yeah, 5 days. That's basically a full business week. I personally think that's ridiculous. That is one of the longest waiting periods in the United States, from what I know of. Let's do longest waiting period for gun purchase in USA. Hawaii has 14 days, so basically effectively like 3-4 week business, like in terms of business days. Okay, let's see. Oh, actually, we wouldn't even get into the top 10. Oh my god. Colorado has 3 days. That I actually agree with. I think 2 to 3 days is like enough of a waiting period to really get somebody to turn their shit around. There is something going on. Yeah, 72. Even in Illinois is 72 fucking hours. But New Mexico, Rhode Island, Minnesota, all 7 days. Dude, this is literally actually the moderate position in terms of like gun control safety of like 5 days. This is like the lower end of what they could do. I think they should do 3 days. Personally, I think 5 days is like brick wall to face of the majority of the GOP voters in the state of Virginia that have had like no waiting period for all of their lives when it comes to gun purchases. It is brick to face in that regard. So I think maybe do 3 days beginning, and then years down the road do 5 days. But yeah, no, 5 days is actually the moderate position on this. So shut the fuck up.
A ban on leaving your gun unattended in your vehicle. I don't ever. Who leaves it? I mean, I used to. I grew up in Washington State. We used to have a gun rack in the back of our truck, and it would be in the back window, and you'd have 3 rifles there, and you'd pull up into school. You'd leave your doors, your car doors or your truck doors unlocked, and nobody would say anything. It was not a problem.
What? What? That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. No, okay, so I lived in fucking Blue Ridge Mountains, Tennessee, Appalachia area for like a year or so. I know this culture. Yes, that's normal, but for a decent chunk of the United States, that's viewed as fucking crazy. That's not fucking normal. That is such a purely American fucking stereotypical thing for people to do, but it's not safe. It's not okay. And the thing is that, like, sure, in certain cultures, in certain areas of the United States, you can get away with it, but in the majority of them, no, you can't, because people are stupid. Things happen. People will take advantage of shit like that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You gotta store your shit. You gotta hide your shit. You gotta make sure people don't have the incentive to break into your fucking car, because we're just in that culture and climate now. So, the only issue I have with this recent proposal in the state of Virginia for not allowing that is on top of banning people doing that with their guns, which is already stupid. Not the legislation or laws against it, but people leaving their guns in their cars, and it's against armed guns in their cars out in the open. Is that if a loaded weapon is found in somebody's vehicle in a visible area, apparently the car will get impounded and towed, and you will have to go pick it up somewhere else and to get your car back, but you will not get your gun back. Like that's the legislation that they're proposing, and there's some complications in there. It's very contentious, and I just, are they just going to be like, oh, somebody reported a gun in somebody's car. Oh, that's a gun in somebody's car. We don't know if it's loaded or not. We're just going to tow their fucking car to the police station and then get into it, do a full inspection, and see if it's loaded. That's going to cause issues. Like, so they need to be careful with this legislation, how they approach this issue, because yeah, it's fucking stupid. Don't leave your loaded gun in a fucking car seat or you're on your dash. But at the same time, it's like, what if you leave your unloaded gun in like fucking condition 4 in an area of a car where somebody's like, oh, there's a gun, and it's like the police have to assume it's loaded and they tow your fucking car and take your gun. Like that's going to cause fucking problems. So yeah, let's continue.
But who's leaving it unattended in their vehicle? I mean, unless it's
dumbasses. That's who. Plenty of people will fucking do it. You just said that where you're from back in the day, people did it. So like,
it's locked in your trunk or locked in your glove box. Also, a state firearm purchaser licensing system. That sounds really good. An 11% tax on ammunition and guns, and civil liability for the gun industry participants for crimes committed using guns that they sold or built.
Yeah, so I looked into the 11% tax thing. It may not fly in the state of Virginia because there's some laws that have, and some precedent that has already been settled where it's like, you can't exactly do that. It's going to get challenged. And then the ability to sue gun manufacturers thing, that actually may not like pass like at all. I think both of those bills are actually sitting in committee right now, and they may just end up not being deliberated upon because they've been sitting in committee for a while. So yeah, it may just get to the point where it's not even a fucking issue because both of those bills were just expire in committee. But in short, no, like suing arms manufacturers for dumbass people doing dumbass shit and crimes with guns doesn't make any sense. It's like being able to sue an auto manufacturer for when some random fuckhead decides to drive their Ford Mustang into a crowd of protesters. That crowd of protesters isn't able to sue the auto manufacturer because the auto manufacturer somehow let that guy use a Ford Mustang to run them over. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. So again, I don't think that's going to fucking fly. We'll see.
Oh, okay. That's really good. By the way, I can't wait to get into what they're doing in Hawaii on guns. Wait until you hear this nonsense. I got a few things to say about that. Also, they're trying to enact, more DEI and ESG stuff. And this one, I have to be really, really careful because they want to expand the racial bias and diversity training for professionals, nurses, real estate agents, and law enforcement. Now,
hold on. Just law enforcement's fucking obvious. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. But the real estate agent thing, right after like a year or so ago, when there was a lawsuit of a black couple in the state of California against a real estate company for very obviously discriminating against them when it came to evaluating their home value. Like, yeah, no, that makes sense, especially in the state of Virginia when we have a much larger minority base and we have a history. Loving v. Virginia, anybody? Holy shit, capital of the fucking Confederacy. I'm just going to fucking put that out. Whatever. But nurses is the interesting part because nobody fucking remembers this shit. I do. You remember this whole fucking thing, the Henrico nurse, where there was some fucking fuck-ass nurse that was found like abusing babies after they were born in the hospital, and there was claims apparently on like Facebook and shit that all these babies were black. So there was like racial accusations and shit flying around, and apparently the Henrico police sent out a statement addressing social media videos alleging that the victims were targeted due to their race. And they said that the information alleged is not factual, but they will not release any of the information related to the demographics of the babies. So there was wild social media shit going around like, oh, she's fucking abusing black babies and shit. And then the Henrico police were like, no, she wasn't. And people were like, oh yeah, what were the demographics of the babies? They're like, we can't tell you. So let's look up where Henrico is. County, Virginia. Let's see where this is. Oh yeah, Richmond. So a very sensitive issue. Accusations going around. The easiest way to like shut shit down is just to not put out information, because this actually can cause race war shit. So I think they did the right thing here, but I still find it funny that like, no, it's not racial. And the people are like the where the demographics are like, we can't tell you. But anyway, no, like this actually happened recently. Like she's like last year, literally around this time last year, she's like, this happened. So no, nurses, valid. Real estate, valid. Police, do we even have to fucking talk about it? Shut the fuck up, bro.
Does the real estate agent need diversity training?
Yes.
Law enforcement and
yes,
and nurses.
Absolutely yes.
Let me lay down the biggest warning I could possibly lay down, and I'm not going to dwell on it or spend time today on this.
No,
the scariest people in Nazi Germany did not wear the black uniforms. They wore the white coats. They were.
They're bringing out the Nazi card. Oh my god. It's the white cop doctors that are actually the scary people. No, motherfucker, the fucking SS officers were the scariest motherfuckers. Shut the fuck up.
For the nurses and the doctors, do not train them in any of this DEI, any of this bullcrap. It's very dangerous.
But why do we still disproportionately have issues with African American women having complications with pregnancy and delivery, and also prenatal care in the United States specifically, like, and also just general medical practice when it comes to minority groups in the United States? Why, like, come on, this is like not just a gap in medical science, but it's in how our population of scientists and nurses treat certain demographics within the United States. There's a long history behind it. So like, dude, shut the fuck up. You are so insulated from these issues. I could tell. You're either willfully ignorant or just don't actually know what's going on. I don't get how this guy has so much fucking influence. Oh my god.
They want to change the curricula in school. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Okay. But I want to concentrate here for just a second on taxes. Because there is a quiet lie that we have accepted in America, that the same dollar that is earned by two different Americans is not the same dollar at all. That if one man earns it after years of sacrifice and years of risk and failure, and another one earns it with less risk, less responsibility, the first man's dollar is somehow or another less his own. This is really dangerous. Because this is the moral foundation of the progressive income tax. Not that government should be funded. That's not in question. But who is punished for making that possible? We're not talking about, anything.
Bro, why are you framing this as a punishment? What?
Even. You are punishing certain people, okay? The progressive tax does something very, very dangerous. It doesn't tax behavior. It taxes outcomes.
Wait, hold on. No, because every single one of the fucking taxes that you bitched about thus far, except for the income taxes, tax behavior. They do. The gun control tax shit, that taxes behavior, how much people buy guns and ammo, what types of guns, suppressors, who actually buys them. Also, gym memberships and shit, like where you actually go to the gym, whether or not you decide to use local rec centers that are already paid for by the city instead of private gyms, whether or not you decide to hire a private lawn care service instead of, asking your neighbor's kids next door to you to just fucking mow your lawn for $20. Like, like that tax behavior, like a decent chunk of these taxes are taxing certain types of behaviors. The delivery tax that is going to be implemented in certain parts of Northern Virginia, that's going to tax certain types of behavior for people that want to avoid traffic in the DC areas, so they just order from Amazon and get all their shit delivered to them. But also not just things that they like random shit in their shopping cart. It's like food, like doing Amazon deliveries of all their groceries and shit because they don't want to deal with like Northern Virginia traffic. So they're going to start taxing that kind of shit and taxing the behavior of people regarding deliveries. So no, like 90% of the taxes that you've bitched about already are taxing behavior. Those are the main things they have fucking problems of. The taxing the outcomes specifically are the income taxes that you're bitching about. And that only affects what? Did we even cover like the percentage of Virginians this actually affects? Over $1 million. Let's see, because like I actually never asked ChatGPT this. What percentage of households earn over $600K a year, or over 1 million a year in the state of Virginia? Virginia. I lived there for 3 years. I can't fucking spell the state of Virginia. I don't care if I capitalize it. Because it's very hard to get statistics on this. I looked around already and there's no clear actual thing. Okay, so yo, what? Okay, so makeover, households make over 1 million. World Population Review. Virginia households report incomes above 1 million. Wait, over 30%? That's surprisingly high compared to yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. And over 30% of Virginians are not making $1 million or more a year. That doesn't make any fucking sense. All right, so let's see this. We don't have however, the top 1% thresholds in Virginia are around $700,000 to $820,000. So that means only about 1% of households earn more than 100,000, 800,000. Okay, so nationwide ACS data shows are roughly top 5% of all U.S. households. Okay. But I did find, God damn it. Top 5% of earners on average make about $533,000 a year. Okay, so, and there are some other stats that I found that were like top 5% is like over almost $400,000 a year, but I don't know if that's like 2025 figures, but still, the $1 million tax figure that he talked about will affect like less than 1% of Virginia households, like legitimately. And the over $600,000 a year figure will affect less than 5% of all Virginia households in the state. And a decent chunk of them, I can guarantee, like 70% of them are going to be north of Richmond. And you know what's funny? We have a song that is dedicated to complaining about the Richmond north of Richmond that came from right-leaning musical figures, which was very popular for a decent chunk of time. And now we're actually, I don't know, implementing taxes to get those Richmond, north of Richmond, to pay their fair fucking share in the state. And now these same fucks that would listen to that song over and over and over and over again are being like, oh, but progressive taxes are evil. You can't tax outcomes. Shut up. Shut up.
Which you never, ever want to get into. It doesn't ask, has this dollar been earned honestly? It only asks, who earned this dollar? Now, does that sound fair? See, fairness always breaks down because of the stories we tell ourselves around it, or the stories we've allowed others.
Money isn't fair. Money is exponential. Money is power. Money is soul energy. Money is time. The more money you have, the more money you can make. That isn't fair inherently. So, no, the taxes when it comes to money shouldn't be fair either, especially on the upper income end and when it comes to wealth. Like, this isn't about fairness, bro.
To construct around. That's why the Constitution is common sense. That's why progressivism.
No, the Constitution isn't common sense. The Constitution is, oh my God, based upon Enlightenment era ideals. Yeah, excuse me. And these are ideals that you would say are progressive and liberal and are satanic and should burn in fucking hell, because these same Enlightenment ideals are the types of things that George Washington would talk about and be like, hey, maybe we should have a universal liberal education system. And he uses the word liberal in a way where it's like, yeah, you should teach the history and the arts and sciences and everything as much as you can to the general voter, because you don't want fucking Plato to be right. Or was it Socrates? Or was it Aristotle? I think it was Aristotle. You don't want him to be right when it comes to the failure of democracies, when it comes to uneducated populace. But yeah, no, the Constitution is not based upon common sense. It's based upon philosophical conclusions made over 3 centuries ago by very, very, very intelligent Scotsmen. I mean, I understand Thomas Paine's fucking common sense is what led to the revolution, but that common sense pamphlet was based on the Enlightenment rhetoric of the time, which we would call demonic, that you would fucking espouse against. So shut the fuck up.
Breaks down once you really start thinking about it, because you can't follow the common sense. It's not fair. It doesn't. A progressive tax does not tax behavior. It taxes the outcome.
You already covered this.
Once you accept the principle that you don't care how honestly the dollar was earned, what you really care about is who earned it. Once you accept that principle, equality under the law dies. And this is why
it's not about how you earned it. It's about how much you earned. That's it. But I also fundamentally disagree with the concept of that you should be taxing labor over overall profits. Like how much extra are you able to produce on top of the labor that you put in order to produce something? Like taxing labor over profits is regressive. It's extremely regressive. It punishes labor. It punishes the amount of work you put towards something. And in order to highlight this, look at he'll talk about this a little bit about income taxes and when it was established and all that. So
start with the taxes. Everything else follows from here. Our founders understood this better than we understand it today, because they lived under a system where the crown decided who could be squeezed and who could not be squeezed and how much to squeeze. And they knew that once the states gained the power, and they could gain the power to decide which citizens would owe more than the other citizen, that liberty would become conditional.
So we're just not going to talk about any of the redlining, property taxes, wealth, shit like that when it comes to African Americans in the United States. Like that was a systemic across the board discrimination against a certain class of people for the better part of a century in the United States. That was not fair. That was levied in every aspect of life against a certain group of people just because of where they came from and who they were and what they were. No, it's not a state thing. It is a federal thing. The federal government did this shit, and this is he also flips between federal level and state level shit, and he doesn't really differentiate it. And I want to differentiate this argument. Federal income tax should have stayed as a type of wealth tax. It should have never been used as a way to eventually get every single American to pay income taxes towards the federal government. That should have never happened. It should have never progressed to that point. I don't think states should have the ability on top of the federal government to then make people pay even more income taxes on top of the federal income taxes that they already spend or pay, excuse me. Especially when those states are already receiving federal tax dollars from those federal income taxes. It is essentially, in a way, a double tax. It doesn't make any sense. If you're receiving federal tax dollars from federal income taxes as a state, you should not be able to tax people again on their income. You shouldn't. Because that just means that you're not utilizing the money that the federal government is giving you off of federal income taxes wisely, and you need more of it for some reason. You're mismanaging in some way. That implies you're mismanaging in some way, shape, or form. So, income taxes in general shouldn't be a thing. Corporate taxes should definitely be a thing. We used to have great corporate taxes, but we insisted that we should tax labor over overall productivity decades ago, and now we're here. So he's going to go on this rant, and we'll continue.
No, James Madison was all over this. He warned against laws that would divide people and citizens into different classes. By the way, James Madison was from Virginia. Hello.
Okay. The United States has had a caste system since its founding. Do people not realize this? Do people not know this? Oh my God, fuck.
Virginia, can you read your own founding principles? Alexander Hamilton also cautioned against this. He said taxation can never become arbitrary. So what they were saying at this point was they were not afraid of taxes. They didn't fear taxes. What they feared were unequal taxes, because that's what they had come out of, okay? And this is why our founders, this is why they avoided income tax altogether. We didn't have an income tax. True. The federal government was broke. The federal government had to raise money through tariffs. We didn't have an income tax up until 1913 because Americans knew this would become unfair, because you're choosing who to tax, who to squeeze, and not, and who not to squeeze. Okay, and when you have taxes indirect, uniform, and visible, then you have real equality. But the moment the government claims a larger share of one man's labor than another man's labor, because that's time is money. Look at your money as the time it took for you to earn that. How many hours did it take you to earn that money? That's
again, like I said earlier, money is time, and time is your soul, and you have a very limited amount of time on this planet. So, agree.
That's what it means. Time is money.
Mm-hmm.
So how much time did it take? So they're not taxing you the dollar, they're taxing your time. And
yes, so that's why I don't think income taxes should be a thing. They are literally taxing your soul. They are taxing your soul. and not the overall productivity of the labor of people in through various means like businesses, investments, etc. Like they're taxing the base level amount of work it takes to do anything. And that literally sucks the soul out of people. And that, like, income taxes fucking suck, bro.
Once you can take somebody's time, somebody's labor, and take more of it from one guy than another, and not for what they did, but just for what they achieved, you're no longer dealing with justice. Would it be just to say, I'm going to tax people who do poorly more than the people who do well? Because the people who do well, let me make this argument just quickly.
Thank you.
If you do well, you're creating jobs. You're better for the community.
That was my wife. So
you're leading us into prosperity. But if you do poorly and you're not doing that, maybe it's because you're lazy, maybe because you're not working. I don't know, whatever it is, because that's the argument. On the other side, with the progressives, they say it's because every rich person is greedy. So let me just flip this over. Would it be fair for me to say every poor person should be taxed because they're not creating enough? They're not creating jobs, and it's only because they're lazy.
But the thing is that is actually the conservative argument. That is actually no shit. You want to talk about actions taken by the Conservative Party over the last couple decades? They have disproportionately fucking taxed poor people every fucking time. Even the Trump administration, poor people getting fucked by the Trump administration through various tax cuts to programs, tariffs. Like I cannot emphasize enough. This is the actual argument from this side, from the conservatives. This is not hypothetical. This isn't a gotcha liberals. This is literally their argument. This is gaslighting. Don't fuck this guy.
Of course not. You would never accept that.
But you do.
So why do you accept the reverse? Okay?
We don't. It's not about resentment. It's not about that.
You've accepted the reverse in this country because we have been taught over and over and over again that you're not going to be able to make it. You'll never be that person. And all of those people over there, they're all so greedy.
So there's a couple things. One, I'm considered a person that has quote unquote made it because I have a house and a decent career in the military, and I have retirement and investments and blah, 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 and my income isn't solely dependent on the fucking government. Like, and I'm not even a fucking like $250,000. I'm considered to have made it by both sides of my family and all my friends. Like, this is not what it is about. This is not about making it. This is a whole different thing. Fuck. I totally forgot what I was going to go on about. Hold on.
Okay. You then get to a point to where you're dealing with resentment.
Oh my God.
Dressed up as policy. Does that sound like anything that we're dealing with today?
Yes, it sounds like exactly what we're dealing with the Trump administration when it comes to everything the Democrats have ever tried to implement as policy or have implemented as policy over the last 2 decades, and that the GOP has been fucking pissy about. The current administration is resentment driven. Like, bro, come on.
Is there anything in our society that Marxists, Leninists, and progressive?
So I'm gonna be real. Marxists, Leninists, fucking retards. I don't like communists, and it is amateur hour for those motherfuckers. Progressives, they are a certain type of people. I am not one of those types of people. I am a somewhat educated military man who is a registered independent voter who will go with the tide however it goes, but I have never had an excuse or a reason to vote for the GOP since I've been voting age. I haven't. And I'm not a progressive type. I'm not a quote unquote liberal, even though by many definitions people would call me is that. So, like, bro, you need to. It's this extreme rhetoric that just supercharges boomers. Like, anybody that disagrees with boomer rhetoric is a Marxist or a Leninist or like extreme progressive or far left. Just, God damn it.
Are shoving into your face resentment. That's why the progressive income tax goes hand in hand, because that's what you're dealing with. You're resenting the people who have made it. And then
okay, I'm just going to turn this argument on its head and just shut it down. The majority of the people that voted for these income taxes, voted for these reforms, voted for these laws, are the exact types of people that you're saying would have resentment towards them. Like, no, like the entire state of Virginia shifted over by 12 points. 30% of voters in the state of Virginia are in Nova. Almost all of the voters that would be affected by the income tax shit, the progressive income tax stuff that you're talking about, voted for this. It's like they want to contribute more towards the state. And the reasons why is because they understand that we may get to a point where we can't rely on the federal government for revenues. We're a very federal dependent revenue state. So, God damn it. Like, this is stupid. This is so fucking stupid. No, like, the people that you're saying that quote unquote progressives would have resentment towards are the ones that wanted these taxes to be implemented. The wealthy people voted for this. Like, beyond a reasonable measure, beyond a reasonable doubt. Like overwhelmingly. So unless there's this weird diaspora of the top 5% of Virginians that earn over fucking $1 million a year or $500,000 a year that overwhelmingly voted GOP, which I fucking doubt. No, they voted for this. They understand that this was going to happen. They're doing it for a reason. So no, this isn't resentment based, you fucking tard.
Teaching people you can't make it yourself. So it's so corrosive because a progressive tax tells the most productive people, your success is tolerated, but we don't respect you. Your effort is useful, but it's not fully yours. It belongs to us. It teaches everybody else something even worse. That the guy who makes more than you that lives down the street, he's not a full citizen. He's not really.
Dude, shut the fuck up. No, it's not about that. But he does highlight a class divide thing, a class war thing. We do need to address that. But the class war isn't between me, who earns, what, a military wage, plus some extra income on the side, versus Joe, who owns a fucking car wash down the street. He earns like twice as much as me, because he's the manager of that car wash. But he manages his car wash, and but we live in the same area, and he has like 3 kids, and I have like none. So in terms of relative income and spending, like we're basically on the same level. Like, and he's also like there's age gaps, and it's not about that. It's about me, the guy who's trying to figure out his fucking career after the military and how to earn enough in order to be able to pay for this damn house, versus Elon, who's worth like a quarter of the fucking planet at this point. Not literally, but still, it feels like that. So,
really one of you. He is a funding source, but that's really all he is. And that's how societies fracture. That's how things fall apart. And our founders knew this. And it doesn't start with riots at first. It starts with ledgers. Yes, the 16th Amendment does say that we can have a federal income tax. That was the progressives back in the Woodrow Wilson years. But it doesn't require Congress to abandon equal treatment. Why do we allow this to happen?
Again, highlighting, He's talking about federal shit for state level income tax changes. Pick a lane.
A flat tax completely complies with the Constitution. A consumption tax would honor it even more because it's not what you make, it's what you buy. It's what you.
Yeah, but the thing is that states like Washington that don't have an income tax, but have a consumption tax or sales tax, have some of the highest taxes in the nation next to California. So that doesn't fucking fix anything, bro. Like, God damn it.
You consume. But what the progressive tax violates is something deeper.
Oh, yeah. And consumption taxes disproportionately affect poor people. So, again, you're over here saying, no, it'll be ridiculous if we assume that poor people are just lazy and they should get taxed more, but at the same time supporting policies that would disproportionately affect poor people and tax them more. Like, God damn it.
Than a clause or an amendment. It violates the understanding that law judges actions, not outcomes. The law is supposed to look at actions, not outcomes.
You know what's funny? The state of Virginia is looking at actions right now. That's where 90% of these tax bills are coming from. They want to control behavior. Fuck.
It's supposed to be actions and not people. The government is there to protect effort, not to take effort.
No, like, what? Since when? Since when? Since when? What? What? This is news to me. When did this change? Oh my God. This is so great. Holy shit. When did this change? Literally, I want to know. Hold on. Tell me.
But every single progressive
Okay.
tax begins by targeting the rich. Notice the new ones? They're going to go after the rich, the super rich, the $600,000 and above. $600,000 a year. That's a businessman. That's not rich. You know what rich is? George frickin' Soros.
Don't tax the rich, because that's bad. But also tax the rich, because we don't tax them enough. Bro. Fuck.
But you'll notice those guys are never at the end. They'll all talk a good game. They were at Davos yesterday going, you know what? You should tax us more. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, because people like you. Because of people like you. Pushing this fucking agenda for decades now. Like, and that's why we're here. Because of people like you. Shut up, bro.
It's not going to happen because it never does. Because they'll find a way out of it.
Yeah, because you guys enable the rhetoric that then goes downstream to the policies that then enable them to find tax loopholes so that they don't have to pay shit. You are the cause. Oh my God, the level of self-awareness is zero.
And every single time you start to expand the income tax, it always expands downward. And history is relentless on this point because
yes, that is true. That is true. That's fucking true. That's why I worry about it a little bit. But this is not, no, shut up.
Once you accept that rights are proportional to income, there's no logical place to stop.
Wait, rights are proportional in income? I thought rights were proportional to wealth. Because the rich have way more rights and representation within our government than any of us. As fucking plebes, as peasants. So, also, caste system, skin color, wealth, where you're from, who you are, what your background is, that whole thing. Like, are we going to ignore that? Okay, yeah, I guess we are.
You know, we didn't fight a revolution so we could be free on a sliding scale. They fought that citizen meant something, the same thing, meant something.
No, we fought a revolution and still had slavery, bro. Like, what?
And it was the same thing for everybody. So the question is not what the government costs. The question is who owns you, your time, and your labor, and whether success in America is still something that we look up to and say that should be earned.
Also, I hate how he frames this as like a businessman thing, but a decent chunk of people in that wealth range aren't business people. They just have wealth from family and investments. Like, this is like old money shit in Northern Virginia. Or like longtime federal employees that have accumulated a lot of wealth through various investments in homes and property and apartment complexes and Bitcoin and fucking like stocks and all that. Like, he really did. It's an old money tax. It's an old wealth money tax. That's all it is. And the decent chunk of the fucking old money that are in Northern Virginia voted for this shit. It's not a matter of like whether or not we hate success or not. It's a matter of like rich people wanting to pay more into the state of Virginia because they know that our federal tax dollars are going to get cut out from underneath us because we've been a disproportionate target from the federal government for the last year. So like we're preparing, we're being smart about this. Like, I hate this framing. I hate this framing so fucking much. This guy's so dumb.
Or is success in America something that should be really shamed? And then if you give us enough money, we'll forgive you.
It's not. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'll cut down my video time by about 18 minutes. Overall, we did what we could with this. This was so bad. I need to cut this video. I'm exhausted. This is my second take. Fuck this. Who the fuck? Glenn Beck. Fuck Glenn Beck. I swear to God, I remember listening to him on radio when I was in high school and just being flabbergasted. But this is the first commentary video that I made on anything that he said. This might just be easy video content, just countering this shit. I love this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, this is all political, and fuck Glenn Beck. Holy shit.